Did you know there were about 20 to 30 famines under the British rule in India? Hello everyone, welcome to Histeduhub, where we explore fascinating truths of history, education and engineering. I'm Hari, and today we are going to dive into the turbulent and impactful history of colonial government in India under the British rule. This story is marked by exploitation, resistance and lasting scars of colonialism. Our story begins with the arrival of British East India Company in the early 1600s. Initially presented as a trading venture, the company's real aim was conquest and territorial expansion for the British Crown. Through money and military force, they steadily acquired territories across India. By the mid-18th century, the East India Company had established itself as a dominant power, not just in trade, but in governance, marking the beginning of nearly 2 centuries of colonial rule characterized by exploitation and control. There is something you have to know before going in. India lacked nothing before the colonial period, but had next to nothing during the time we attained independence. In 1857, a major uprising known as the Indian Rebellion erupted. This rebellion was the result of long-standing frustrations among Indian rulers who have been depowered, as well as a widespread resentment towards the British disregard for India's cultural sensitivities. Although the rebellion was ultimately crushed by the reinforcements from Britain, it left a deep impact. The British government dissolved the East India Company and imposed direct crown rule, leading to even harsher policies to keep Indian population in check. You have to know that the 1857 rebellion was one of many rebellions happened between 1600s and 1800s against British, but was recorded as it was a major uprising which led to the direct interference of the crown. Under the British Crown, India was divided into provinces and princely states, each overseen by British officials and local rulers who acted more as a puppet of the Crown. This period saw the imposition of exploitative economic policies and harsh social controls. The British implemented land revenue systems that devastated Indian agriculture, promoted the cultivation of cash crops like opium for British profit, and dismantled local industries through unfair taxation and trade policies. These actions led to widespread poverty and economic hardships. Ever heard the term OD? That was also seen in the poverty-struck colonial rule India with opium plantation. The impact of British policies were devastating. Traditional industries collapsed, famine became common, and the overall quality of life plummeted. By the time British left India, the food security was a joke, literacy was at 12%, and life expectancy at just 32 years. Socially, while the British abolished practices like sati and child marriage, exaggerated as prevalent across India, they also introduced their own oppressive systems such as bonded labor. British rule was marked by systemic exploitation and repressions. They literally sucked the life out of India by the time we gained independence. They even abolished our education system to implement their Western education system created solely to train slaves and laborers. In response to these injustices, Indian nationalism began to rise. People from every corner of the country began to hold hands with various goals in their minds, from leading a peaceful life under the British to overthrowing them, from responding in a non-violent and diplomatic way to a violence-filled, blood-burning way. Some believe the 1885 formation of the Indian National Congress marked the start of a structural political movement against the British rule, but it was like an unopened suggestion box created by the British, at least until 1920s. Leaders and politicians like Subhash Chandra Bose, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru fought tirelessly for our freedom. However, the British responded with brutal repression. Political dissenters faced summary executions, long imprisonment, and brutal police crackdowns. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre is one of the most notorious examples of the British cruelty. Today, numerous initiatives by government and private organizations aim to educate young minds about the colonial Indian history, or to be correct, India's colonial history. Museums and heritage sites and educational programs help us understand its significant period, or more like a horrible period. These efforts not only educate the public but also instill a sense of pride in our rich and complex history. They remind us of the struggles and triumphs that have shaped modern India. We faced 25 major famines between 1858 and 1947 after the dissolution of East India Company and a takeover by the Crown. Think about the time of East India Company. What about other killings in the battle? Just remember, the British brought down our global GDP to 3% by the time we attained independence. That's all for today's episode on the colonial government in India. British rule left a lasting impact on our country, influencing everything from our infrastructure to our political landscape. It's a history marked by exploitation, but also by the resilience and fight for freedom. I hope you found this video exploration insightful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Histeduhub for more incredible stories from history, education, and engineering. Also, leave a comment below if you have any questions or suggestions for future topics. Thanks for watching. See you next time.